Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric. In this video, I'm going to be discussing if there is a perfect theme park out there. Before we get into that, let's get to the obvious. The answer is no. There is not a perfect theme park. That would mean it is literally the best in all categories, and it would have to be better than the best is right now, because there's no such thing as perfection in any roller coaster or theme park yet. But in this video, I'll be trying to find out what the closest we've gotten is, and if that could change in the future. Let's get into this. So looking at the individual aspects, it's important to note that it must appeal to all ages fairly equally, in the sense that it appeals greatly to them all. You have to have those grand roller coasters. A park such as Cedar Point, of course, that has awesome roller coasters, people love them. Many would say it's the best roller coaster lineup in the world. However, it does have a flaw. And you may have guessed, it doesn't have the theming elements to hook the people who go for a more immersive experience, and the family rides might be a little more lacking. Then you have parks such as Walt Disney World or Legoland Florida. The parks there, they have their fair share of highly themed rides that are fun. All ages can enjoy things such as It's a Small World or the Dragon roller coaster, but they don't have the thrilling stuff. We need a balance there. What park could be that balance? Well, there are plenty out there that could be potential suitors, but I would say there is one I've been to that's going to be the main focus of this video, and I'll be discussing why it might be the perfect theme park. That, my friends, is Universal's Islands of Adventure in Orlando, Florida. The Universal has upped its game quite a bit lately. All of its parks have been getting major additions, and pretty much all of them are awesome. They appeal to the demographic that likes the thrilling rides. They have the dark rides that are highly themed, they have nice theming on the walking parts of the park, and they have a good collection of family coasters. And they have their family rides, they have stuff that appeals to all ages, and then they have their own IPs that would allow people of specific fan bases to enjoy the parks. It's hard not to enjoy Islands of Adventure. I guess there are things that can be nitpicked, but let's go through some of the individual categories at Islands of Adventure specifically to see why it might be the closest thing to a perfect theme park that we have in the world. Let's start with my personal favorite, roller coasters. The roller coaster collection here is small. There are a total of 4. And that's honestly kind of hard to say for sure, because the Pteranodon Flyers, everyone says that is not. But either way, you have the very thrilling Velocicoaster and Incredible Hulk. Both are great roller coasters. The thrill seekers love those. And both of them also have nice appearances, good cues, and solid theming throughout that allow it to mix with not just being crazy, intense stuff that doesn't have a whole lot of substance theming-wise, such as X2 with Six Flags Magic Mountain. It still looks nice and ties into an immersive land. Then you have Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Still somewhat thrilling, but appeals to the family audience more, and is just beautiful to look at, on and off the ride. And then you have the somewhat kiddie coaster Flight of the Hippogriff for the smallest riders, really allowing the younger thrill seekers to get into roller coasters. So the roller coaster collection, very much quality over quantity, a very cohesive lineup given its 4 roller coasters. There are parks with 17 roller coasters that don't even compete. So it's definitely a great one. But let's see how that ties into the theming aspect of the park. Theming is important for some. There's a reason why Walt Disney World parks and such are the most popular in the world. People love being able to see certain lands from real and fictional places be brought to life by human architecture. And Islands of Adventure fully delivers in what I think is the most beautiful park in the US. You have so many great lands, the unique port of entry, the colorful Marvel Superhero Island, the similarly wacky and enjoyable Toon Lagoon, the very well realized Jurassic Park area, the magical Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which is probably the main draw for the park, the enjoyable kid-friendly Seuss Landing. There is so much to love about the lands here. It is definitely a gorgeous park to walk around, whether it be looking at Hogwarts Castle, looking at the roller coasters from off-ride, seeing Dudley Do-Right's Ripsaw Falls and that grand facade, Skull Island Reign of Kong. All this stuff looks great. So when just walking around, this not only competes with, but probably outdoes most Disney parks. There are some out there I've not been to that many would say are more strong in this regard, such as Tokyo Disney Sea. But for now, I think this is definitely more than strong enough to classify as being a well-done aspect that contributes to this park being a jack-of-all-trades. Now for the themed rides. Looking at the rides that tie in with the theme lands, they are all excellent. I'm not a huge fan of all necessarily. I don't love Skull Island Reign of Kong, but I do love Jurassic Park River Adventure, Harry Potter and the Forbidden Journey, Popeye and Bluto's Bill Drap Barges, and especially The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man, all of which fit in their respective lands insanely well, and they all look absolutely wonderful. They are well landscaped, they have fun theming elements, but they don't detract from being good rides. They still have their own thrills and tricks and fun, and it can appeal to both the Six Flags type crowd and the Disney type crowd. So of course that's a pretty well done element. Now we need to get to things that are not quite as pronounced for the audience probably watching this video, but that is the family friendly stuff on the kids side. Young kids go to parks. After all, most parks really are marketed toward a younger audience. You look at Seuss Landing. There are some fun rides there, good character meet and greets, and the theming will be mesmerizing for some kids. I think for that youngest audience, they're going to love Camp Jurassic, they're going to love the Seuss Landing stuff I was mentioning, they're going to enjoy Pteranodon Flyers, they might even enjoy, to an extent, some of the things like Spider-Man. I feel like this is a good park for the youngest kids, and while there might be others that have more of the spinner type rides, they don't have a bunch of repeat rides here, like something like Magic Kingdom with 2 spinners and then Animal Kingdom having one right next door previously. So we have to give some credit. I'm very impressed with how Islands of Adventure is able to have every ride serve a purpose and make for a very cohesive overall lineup. So with rides and theming being the best, what other aspects can we mention? Food? Sure, food is good here. I'm not necessarily a connoisseur on theme park food, but I've heard great things about Mythos Restaurant. Everyone loves butterbeer besides me. And it's a very strong lineup of food stuff, I suppose. It's not disgusting, no one complains about it, so that's another point for this being a perfect theme park. Then you have operations, a more important aspect. Operations relates to the rides being reliable, and the rides being able to move their lines quickly. This park obviously gets crowded. It's Universal in the main theme park hub of pretty much the world, so you would expect that. However, it is able to dispatch trains very quickly. I've not seen bad operations on any ride here, and the only particularly frustrating thing is that because of how complex some rides are, such as Hagrid's, you may have some closed rides. But it's not usually all day, and I have not had an issue getting on Hagrid's in the past, so I feel that this is a very strong aspect of the park, particularly on the dispatch side, and definitely something that the park gets a lot of merit for. Now I should mention one other very nice thing about the park, the locker policy. The major rides have free lockers at them for when you wait in line, showing that the park does prioritize safety, does not want those loose articles to fall out, but it's also not going to scam you like pretty much every other park on Earth. So that's a huge plus, and in terms of other aspects, whether it be the small things such as pretty much anything else, frankly, I think Islands of Adventure is the jack of all trades. There isn't anything I went to the park and thought, this is bad and really needs to be improved. There are other subtle things that people love about the park that add to it that aren't really a major aspect of any other park. For example, I think if you go to a Six Flags park or even a Disney park to an extent, you're not going to leave thinking, wow, the music was great. But at Islands of Adventure, you are. It is the best soundtrack for a theme park, I guess is the term I'll be using, where each land has a distinct sound to it, and it's transitioned quite seamlessly. And it's very important to note that that kind of ties the immersion together. So there are small things Islands of Adventure has going for it that contribute to the overall package and the more major elements I was discussing. Now I will acknowledge there are plenty of parks out there that have some similarities to Islands of Adventure that might be better and might be more quote-unquote perfect. The first that comes to mind is Phantasialand in Germany. This one has the thrilling roller coasters in Fly and Terran, it has the great water rides, It has the dark rides, it has a drop tower in Mystery Castle, it has great immersive theming, it is a nice, easy to get around layout. Not. That's something worth noting, honestly. I've heard that there was some confusing things about Phantasialand's layout, but Islands of Adventure is very easy to navigate. So maybe that's another plus for Islands of Adventure being above it. I can't say for sure, having not been to Phantasialand, but I imagine it is also way up there. So what is the point of this video? Well, I do want to point out that with what Universal's been doing lately, really adding a lot of great new stuff to all their parks. Islands of Adventure recently got Velocicoaster back in 2021. I think this park will continue to improve, and at a certain point, it will be, for basically every demographic, considered the best park on Earth. There was a long time where it was winning all the USA Today polls and such for best, and that still kind of happens, though it wasn't really appealing to the thrill-seeker demographic. Just needed to add Velocicoaster and Hagrid's, and that was enough, and it has turned people into theme park enjoyers that were really just roller coaster enjoyers at a point. Hagrid's was powerful, and Velocicoaster was too. They are some of the most important roller coasters added in recent memory, and I think as a result, this is, for purposes of this video, the perfect theme park. It's the closest I know, it's the closest I've been to, and I think it's going to get even closer to true perfection in the future. Thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below what you think is the perfect theme park, if there is one. Subscribe for more theme park content. I'll see you next time.